Well, Auckland is New Zealand's biggest city. Of course, 1 in 3 New Zealanders live somewhere in Auckland, but you don't have to go very far to find cows and sheep, funnily enough. Early today, the Building and Construction Minister, Nick Smith, told RNZ there was no place for grazing cows in an Auckland reserve when there is a massive housing shortage. Now, he was referring to an amendment he's making to ban farming or grazing on the Point England Reserve, part of which has been earmarked for a new housing development. And that left us wondering just how many cows are there around Auckland. We sent our intrepid reporter, Sarah Robson, to find out.
Cornwall Park is just 8 kilometres from Auckland CBD, a quick 10-minute or so drive when the traffic's clear. Surrounded by houses, it's home to flocks of sheep and a herd of cattle. A park in the middle of New Zealand's biggest city isn't the first place you'd expect to find hundreds of farm animals. But the locals love it.
It just brings the country into the city. Where else in the world can you find this? It's lovely, it's just great to see. Daffodils, lambs.
Children in the city don't get a lot of opportunity to see farm animals, and so it's really nice. And you also see the seasonal changes with the cows having their calves, and we're just off to go and see the little lambs now. Hopefully there's some there.
I think it's a good advertisement when we have all the tourists come here, and they seem to love them and they take photos of them. They don't have that close proximity, I don't think, to those sort of animals in their own countries.
The farm manager, Peter Maxwell, says the livestock graze over 150 hectares of land across both Cornwall Park and One Tree Hill Domain.
We have 600 Perrendale ewes and 60 Simmental cows that are all about to calve and lamb through August and September.
Cornwall Park was gifted to New Zealanders by Sir John Logan Campbell over 100 years ago. It's now run by the Cornwall Park Trust. Peter Maxwell says having agriculture in and around the urban environment was part of Sir John's vision.
Also part of the grass control, the economic way of controlling grass in the hillier aspects for our sheep. And people do like to come to the park and see the cows and calves and the ewes and lambs grazing around.
But the Cornwall Park Trust isn't the only one farming around Auckland. Mark Bowater, who's the head of park services for Auckland Council, says it's got livestock grazing across a number of its regional parks. About 19 of them are farmed in one way or another. There are also another dozen parks that have grazing licences.
So across the regional parks network of 28 regional parks, we have around 5,500 sheep and around 1,100 head of cattle. Does fluctuate a little bit according to season.
Mark Bowater says education is part of the reason why the council does have livestock at many of its parks.
Particularly children from areas where they may not be able to travel out to regional parks. So the opportunity is there for them to be able to connect with nature, with animals, see them in a working farm environment, understand where our milk comes from, where wool comes from.
And Mark Bowater says as Auckland grows and becomes more urban, those experiences will become all the more important. I tamaki makoto mō te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robson, aho.